What up, my people, and welcome back to the Ricardo Reports National Review, powered by Football University. I am your official voice of youth and high school sports, Chad Ricardo. Today we got a heck of a show for you. We're gonna travel down South Mississippi to be exact, checking in with my main man Marcus Ditt, but first, headed out to the West Coast, which is the best coast depending on who you ask. My guy, Mr. Edwin Weathersby, Player Development Director out there on the West. Edwin, we got a ton to discuss, so I just want to get right down to it, brother. Freshman All-American nominations, they have come to a close. What I want to know for you is, what is it that we were looking for? What attributes, what achievements in selecting our freshman All-Americans?
From a physical standpoint, we were looking for explosive, instinctive, and dominant freshman football players. The roster will be full of players who have explosive physical attributes, be it speed, quickness, strength, and dominated their competition as freshmen. Athletic and on-field confidence was also prioritized. As far as achievements, many of our selections are players who played varsity as freshmen and already either have multiple offers or are already being shown serious interest by college coaches.
And we know that recruitment really at this point, it's not a game of checkers, it's a game of chess. It's all about looking forward. For the young men who have been and or will be chosen to play, how can this acknowledgement plan in this game help further their high school and even ultimately on into their collegiate careers?
For starters, being recognized and selected as an All-American brings forth an amazing amount of positive attention for a player, and that's at any level.
Right.
With FBU and All-American Games being the owner of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, the players selected for the FBU Freshman All-American Bowl are prospects we've seen and identified as early potential Army All-Americans. In regards to a college career, I think you go back and look at last year's co-MVPs, Kobe Hudson and Leonard Manuel. Within several weeks after the game, they both had multiple scholarship offers from Power 5 conference schools. So I think that sums it up well as far as how this acknowledgement helps both a high school and a collegiate career.
So it's kind of on a string, what one step leads to the next in many ways.
Exactly. Yep, it's a path, and there's always something next for a player to do and achieve with us.
So it's easy to talk about everybody that's happy with us right now. I mean, there are a ton of young men, student athletes, a ton of families that are thrilled with us, but for the young men that weren't selected, that didn't make the team, is this the end of the road for them? Is this the, end of their relationship with the All-American Games?
I want to answer that with an emphatic no.
Okay.
This does not end their relationship with us by any means at all. First, this is a highly selective process, and there are hundreds of talented players in this freshman class. I've poured over a lot of tape, talked to a lot of various sources, scouts, and things like that. There's more talented kids than slots that we can bring into this game. And we can only select a chosen few. The players who were not selected, first, I'd say are players we would like to see compete at a regional FBU camp next spring in their respective areas. I'd also say to them that next season is their sophomore year, which is one of our sweet spots for national combine invites. And a standout sophomore season could very well get them an invitation to the combine and subsequently put them squarely in the mix for a potential Army All-American invite for their senior season. So, for the young men who didn't get selected for the Freshman All-American Bowl, this is not the end of the road for them as a player, and this is surely not the end of the road for them in regards to a relationship with All-American Games.
And you know what, Edwin, the more that I have an opportunity to speak with you, to be able to speak with Eric Richards, the Freddie Browns, the other guys, the more that the D Jenkins, can't not mention D. D'll get mad at me.
No, yeah, he will.
The more that I come to understand it. So really what it is that you're saying is that although playing in the Freshman Bowl is a great highlight. It puts them on the radar for the Army All-American Bowl. Ultimately, a kid can still make it there by going to the camps and then going to the combine and getting noticed and recognized in that regard.
Exactly. I mean, coming to a camp allows us to actually see them in person competing, allows us to see how they take coaching, how professional they are at their craft, and how much they want to get better, how they handle themselves. And that's another evaluation in itself right there. And as I said before, as they get older and as we want to start filling out that Army All-American roster, these are some of these kids at our camps and that we've already seen on tape, albeit they did not get selected at the freshman bowl level. We will be coming back and re-evaluating them for those specific purposes.
All right, so back to everyone that is happy with us right now. For the young men that were selected, the young men that are FBU freshmen All-Americans, walk me through their expectations, not only for the game, but for that week, for the experience as a freshman All-American.
On the field, they can expect a great week of competitive practices against other elite players from their class from around the entire country. They're going to get coached up by some of the best coaches in the nation, including multiple Super Bowl champion and wide receiver and NFL coach Mike Wilson and former NFL and University of Georgia running back Robert Edwards. But both of them will be our two head coaches. Next, off the field, we have a lot of fantastic bowl week festivities for the players, coaches, and families that'll take place throughout the entire week to assure that this will be an exceptional experience on and off the field for everybody.
That is amazing. Look, definitely looking forward to that. Want to get eyes in person on all of these young men, and like you said, it's going to be an experience that could potentially change their lives.
Yes, I agree.
All right, Edwin, we got to run the break for a minute. You'll hang out with me?
Oh yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Coming up, me and Edwin Weathersby break down the games of 3 top-notch student athletes. Keep it locked. It's the National Review.
Dave Diaz-Infante, offensive line coach, FBU. San Diego Chargers, Philadelphia Eagles, and Denver Broncos, 2-time Super Bowl champion. FBU is for the players that want to be the best. It's for the best being trained by the best. It's the best thing you could ever do. It's the FBU experience.
Got my main man Edwin Weathersby on the line right now. Ed, check this out, bro. Like I said, I want to speak to you in specific about a couple of these freshman All-American student athletes. Want to start out in Arizona, and I want to talk about the big fellas because we don't show the big fellas enough love. Tell me about my main man, Ben Roy.
Ben is a 6'2", 255-pound offensive line prospect who already starts on the varsity team at Desert Edge High School. They're one of the better, more consistent programs out in the Phoenix area. Ben shows good technique in his sets, smooth athleticism on the edge, and he's got a nastiness to him that you look for in any high-end offensive line prospect. His future may be at left tackle as he mirrors rushers well in space, and he can perform an array of blocks. I first heard about him last spring when I was at Desert Edge from their head coach, Jose Lucero. He and I were standing out there on the field, and Coach Lucero was just gushing about, an incoming freshman offensive lineman who he kept saying was a stud. Fast forward several months later, I had another scout tell me that he thinks Ben will be the best overall player in his class in the state by his senior year.
And that's an amazing feat. And you and I both know that moves to left tackle, if you make it to the NFL level, mean more paydays, bigger paydays at least.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now I'm going to take you all the way across the nation because that's what we do here. It's the National Review. Defensive end out there in Georgia, versatility is key. Speak to me about Chaz Chambliss.
Yeah, versatility is something I look for when evaluating players at any level. And Chaz is one of the most versatile defensive players we'll have in the freshman All-American Bowl. He's 6'2", he weighs more than 220 pounds, and he can play strong or weak side defensive end with his hand down. He can stand up on the edge as a Russian, similar to a 3-4 outside linebacker, and he'd have no problem playing on the flanks as a traditional outside linebacker in a 4-3 scheme. He's got good size, but he plays even bigger at the point of attack as he has fantastic strength and he has head heavy hands. He converts speed to power well during his rushes, and he pursues ball carriers extremely well with short area quickness. He ran with the varsity team at Carrollton High School in Georgia this season, and one of our more trusted scouts in the Southeast said Chaz was an absolute must-get for this game. So we couldn't be more excited to have him competing out in Naples next month.
That is absolutely amazing, man. That versatility, especially with the way that defenses are being played now, you've got to have players that can be multiple, players that can that can do exactly that.
Yes, and Chaz can do just that.
Last one for the day, going all the way up north to the Massachusetts area. My lady would call these the northern states. This is Tommy's area. What do you got on Sammy Lamuth?
Sammy's such a talented prospect that he was one of our earliest selections. He's 5'10". He weighs about $175. He's a defensive back who can work as a field corner. He's tough enough to play the boundary, and he has the athleticism and space and transition quickness to hold his own over a slot receiver. He's from Malden Catholic in Massachusetts. He came down to FBU Top Gun this past summer in South Carolina, and Sammy was just a nuisance to receivers all camp. He caught the injury bug a bit early this season, but since then he's bounced back and he's shown the confidence of a true star cornerback, and I look forward to seeing him compete, throughout the week in Naples as well.
Wait, so look, if I heard you correctly, Edwin, you said that Sammy up there in Massachusetts was one of the first invites out. Is that what you said?
Yes. And it was through the FBU Top Gun experience. He heads down south from his native state of Massachusetts, shows up, and he just covers every receiver that he was matched up with.
So they play football outside of just Florida, Texas, and Georgia. Then that's what you're telling me.
Oh yeah, and I think the main person with us that'll vouch for that is Tom McGuire. Absolutely. Edwin Weathersby, thank you very much. Look, bro, I look forward to seeing you down in Naples. It's almost time. Oh yeah, it's almost time. It's actually November 1st now, so I said next month, and we're getting close here, and I can't wait. Cannot wait. Thank you very much, brother. Thanks, Jack. Edwin Weathersby is my dude. We've been all across the nation, but we're not stopping now. Headed south to Mississippi next. It's the National Review.
1, 2, 3, Abby! You know! I want to find out how good I am. Yes, sir! If you relax, you get blown out. Let's get it done!
What can you take advantage of right now?
Again, come on. I can push myself way beyond what you think.
Pressure technique. Bring it back.
FBU National Championship Tournament is now less than a month away. It's time to start booking your travel to Naples. Today we're headed down south to check in with Team Mississippi. If you aren't yet familiar with all the teams in the tournament, head over to FBUNC.com to check out the full bracket. Joining me now, former student athlete at Alcorn State, team director of Team Mississippi, my main man, Mr. Marcus Dent. Marcus, brother, I'm gonna get you started on this. In your opinion, why is football and football university in particular important to your community?
I think it's important to the community. Number one, it gives an avenue for these kids to be able to do some things that normally they would not be able to do. Right now, what we're doing in the community with FBU, just right here in Jackson, Mississippi, in the last couple of weeks, we have had all kind of support from, just from council people, from different people calling up, say, hey, look, we like what you're doing. You're giving our kids, avenue that some of them normally wouldn't have, have a chance to, to do some of the things they're doing. And man, we just had great support from the community, and it's making the community pretty much smile, saying, hey, look, our kids can come out of this and get something out of it and come back to the community one day and also give back themselves.
And also give back. You know, and I'll tell you this. We know that at this point, the FBU National Championship Tournament, it's less than a month away. I know that you all are wrapping up tryouts as we speak. How have tryouts gone for you all thus far?
Man, tryouts has been outstanding. Really has been outstanding. We have the last trial we had about 125 kids out.
Really?
Yeah, we had about 125 kids. So the problem right now is really on the coaches. The coaches they have the big decision, you know, who to keep and who not to keep. But right now, man, we're very pleased with the talent that we have out. We're very, very pleased with the parent participation that we have. You know, in the last couple of weeks, and you know, we're just eager to get started. We feel like we got a little chip on our shoulder. We got something to prove. But you know, right now everything is going really well.
So going off of that, and I know it's early. I know you've barely started practicing yet, but are there any student athletes in particular whom you foresee making major contributions as Team Mississippi takes that path to Naples?
In the 8th grade bunch, man, we have some super athletes. A kid that kind of stood out in the last couple of days is Jalen Sutter from Hernando, Mississippi. He's one of those kids that we can put anywhere.
Right.
Right now he's playing safety with us. He's going to also play a little running back. He's just an athlete that make plays. You know, he flies around the ball. He seems to be very knowledgeable of the football game, and that's one kid right now that he's looking pretty good. Although also Quavo Davis, our quarterback, very strong arm, can move outside the pocket. I hate to put the tag on it, but he's kind of a Cam Newton type.
Right.
So he can beat you with his arm and his feet.
And his name is Quavo?
Yeah, we call him Quavo Davis.
Okay, all right. I was wondering whether that was his nickname or whether his mama named him Quavo. I thought that was just a rap name, you know?
Yeah, he's an exciting kid. He's been recruited by, you know, different teams all over the country, but his dad is our offensive coordinator for the 8th grade, and you know, this kid has been around the game for a while, and he can actually, you know, really make plays, and that's something that, you know, we had some good players last year, but we was missing that playmaker on offense, and right now we I think we're loaded up with playmakers.
We got the playmakers. We got that. We're going to check that box there. I'm heavy into leadership. I believe that every great team needs one. Where will the leadership come from primarily on your 8th grade squad?
Leadership, it looks like it's coming from, you know, the whole team. I mean, I got a very good vibe last Sunday, you know, at our workout tryouts, just from these guys who have played this game. You know, I mean, I would hate to just say one person, but our 8th grade bunch, you know, really seems to come together and say, hey, look, we want to do this. So, you know, we're getting leadership from the offense side of the ball, from the defense side of the ball. Like I said, one of the kids I mentioned earlier, Jalen Sutter, he stands out. And Malik Mayweather, he's another kid that, you know, that has been the top gun. So he's been in some FBU sightings and situations.
Right.
So, you know, we're able to get a lot of leadership on both sides of the ball.
I'm going to get you out of here on this, brother. You all have South Atlanta in the first round. It's not an easy task. What would constitute a successful FBU National Championship tournament run for Team Mississippi?
Oh, winning it all.
There we go.
Winning it all. We're anything short of a national championship right now, we feel like it's unacceptable because we'll work hard. We want to be relevant in this tournament. We want everybody looking at, you know, wondering what does Mississippi got, you know, instead of what Maryland have and the Kentucky. You know, we want to be in the talk. So, you know, right now, you know, national championship is what we're aiming for.
My man, Marcus Dent, thank you for stopping by the National Review, brother.
Man, I appreciate it.
That's my main man, Marcus Dent. Not only team director for FBU National Championship contender Team Mississippi, but also my dude. Want to give a thanks to not only Marcus, but also to Edwin Weathersby, player development director out there on the West Coast. It's about time for me to get out of here. Not before I thank you for making this, the National Review, the most watched youth and high school sports show in the nation. I'm your official voice of youth and high school sports, Chad Ricardo. I'll see you next week. Happy birthday, Mom.